Welcome to the deep dive. So, today we're tackling something I think a lot of you wrestle with. Figuring out the best time, the smartest time, maybe to buy a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Whether you're looking at an upgrade or maybe it's your first one ever, the timing, well, it feels like a really tricky part of the whole thing.
It absolutely does. And what kind of sparked this whole deep dive was this story, this experience someone had trying to buy the new AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D processor.
Yeah, those are hot right now.
Exactly. And, just trying to get hold of this really sought-after chip got them thinking quite deeply, actually, about when the ideal moments are to invest in your gaming setup.
Right, that whole rush for the latest, the greatest tech.
Yeah.
It's something most PC gamers know well, I think.
For sure.
So, okay, our mission today, let's say, is to really dig into that thinking, that analysis, and pull out the key insights for you listening. We want to go beyond just like looking at spec sheets and help you figure out when a purchase really, truly makes sense for you, for your gaming life, your circumstances.
Okay, sounds good. So where should we start? I guess the first big opportunity, the one lots of gamers think of, is when new parts actually come out.
Exactly. As the author we're looking at points out, and it's generally true, new components, they usually offer better performance.
Right.
Think about the CPU, the processor, like the brain, right? And the GPU, the graphics card doing all the visual heavy lifting for games.
Yeah.
When new versions of those launch, they're typically faster, more powerful.
Yeah.
That Ryzen 9800X3D is a perfect example. Cutting edge, lots of buzz.
And right around launch time, you get this flood of information too. Reviews, benchmark tests, comparisons.
Totally. Which lets you make a pretty informed choice based on, what kind of performance you actually need.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about the rhythm of these releases. CPUs, generally, you see something new roughly every year. Although, recently we've seen manufacturers doing quicker refreshes sometimes.
Little bumps, yeah.
Yeah, little incremental updates. And GPUs, graphics cards, that cycle's historically been maybe closer to 2 years. But again, that also seems to be speeding up a little.
So there's kind of a pattern, but it's not totally rigid.
Not at all. It gives you a general idea, but things can shift.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
You often hear that advice, right? Oh, maybe wait, new stuff's coming soon.
Hold off.
Yeah, hold off. And there was maybe this older idea that if you waited a bit after launch, the prices would drop.
Right. The initial hype dies down, prices settle.
But the author here kind of pushes back on that, especially, in today's market, where demand can just be sky high for certain things.
Exactly. That's a really key point they make. With these really desirable components, like that Ryzen chip, waiting might actually mean you face shortages.
Or you just miss out completely for ages.
Precisely. That old assumption that prices always fall after launch. It just doesn't hold up when demand is way higher than supply. Sometimes, honestly, buying near the launch is the only realistic way to get the specific part you want without waiting forever.
That's a big shift in thinking, potentially. Less about chasing a bargain, maybe, and more about just securing the performance you're actually after.
Yeah, acting decisively.
And the author touches on the other bits too, right? Like power supplies, memory, your RAM storage, SSDs and things.
The supporting cast.
Yeah. And those tend to improve more slowly. Their performance jumps aren't usually as dramatic year on year.
Right. Their lifespans in terms of needing an upgrade are often longer.
So the advice there is maybe buy something reliable, maybe slightly better than you strictly need right now when you're doing your main CPU GPU upgrade. Sort of sets you up for the future. Ensures the foundation is solid, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So buying at launch, it really suits people who, they need that top-tier performance right away, or they're very particular about having the latest specs. And all the info dropping at launch helps them make that call.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's pivot to the second opportunity the author brings up. And this one, well, it really clicked for me personally. Buying or upgrading when there are specific games you're just dying to play.
Yes. This is such a practical angle. The author actually shares their own story, right? Getting an RTX 3070 graphics card specifically for Cyberpunk 2077.
Right. It's a perfect example. You let the games you want to play drive the hardware choices, not the other way around.
Totally. And let's face it, the specs needed for new games, they just keep creeping up over time.
Oh, definitely. Minimum requirements, recommended specs, they climb. A top-end card from, say, 5 years ago, it might really struggle with a brand new graphically intense game today, especially if you want high settings or resolutions.
So this brings up a good point. How often do you really need to upgrade if this is your main driver? If it's about playing specific games?
Yeah, what's the thinking there?
Well, the author suggests maybe targeting either the highest recommended specs for those massive games you're waiting for, think a new Monster Hunter, maybe the next GTA.
Or at least hitting the standard recommended specs just for a good, smooth experience
Yeah,
without issues.
exactly. Either aim high for longevity or just make sure you meet the comfortable middle ground for that game you care about now.
And the upside here is huge, isn't it? If your PC can run the newest, most demanding stuff.
It'll crush older games, absolutely.
Yeah, so suddenly you've got this massive back catalog of amazing games you can play, often really cheap in sales, too.
Definitely. And another smart point the author makes, think about storage. Game install sizes are just ballooning. You might want a bigger SSD than you initially thought.
Oh, man, tell me about it. Some games are enormous now.
Yeah, but what's really appealing about this whole approach, I think, is the simplicity.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to constantly follow every bit of hardware news. You don't need to track every new release.
Ah, right. If keeping up with tech specs feels like homework.
Exactly. You can just focus on the games, enjoy playing. And you only really need to dive back into the hardware world when that next big must-play game appears on your radar.
That's actually really freeing, in a way. Focus on the fun part, the gaming.
Totally.
Okay, so we've got buy when new stuff drops for top performance, or buy when a game you love demands it. What's the third one?
The third opportunity the author discusses is buying. Well, they call it aligned with life stage changes.
Interesting. That's not something you hear talked about quite as much in this context.
No, it isn't. But I think it's really quite important because it moves beyond just the tech or the games. It's about how gaming actually fits into your life overall.
Okay. Tell me more.
So the author mentions, for instance, upgrading their CPU and motherboard, the main circuit board, before a big life change happened for them.
Ah, okay. So personal circumstances driving the timing?
Exactly. And you have to consider, the sheer choice involved in PC gaming hardware. Whether you build it yourself or buy pre-built, there are tons of options.
It can be kind of overwhelming, right? Takes time to research.
It takes a lot of time. You need to gather information, compare things, figure out what's best for your budget and needs. It's a whole project.
Right. I see where this is going.
Yeah. So the core idea here is maybe the best time to buy is when you actually have more free time on your hands.
To do the research and to actually use the PC once you get it.
Precisely. It helps you avoid that classic scenario.
Yeah.
You finally get this awesome new gaming rig, and then you're too busy to even turn it on.
Oh, that would be painful. All that potential just sitting there.
So the author suggests thinking about it during those preparatory periods before a big shift, maybe before starting university or a new job if, things might get hectic later.
Get it set up. Make gaming a habit before life gets crazy.
Yeah, establish it as your downtime activity. They even mention, the pandemic.
Yeah.
How all that unexpected free time led to a huge surge in people buying or upgrading gaming PCs.
Right. People were looking for things to do at home. Good example.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, timing your purchase with a life stage change is really about making sure your investment actually gets used and enjoyed.
Making space for it in your life.
Exactly. Making sure it's a meaningful part of your leisure time, not just another thing on the to-do list you never get to.
Okay, wow. 3 really distinct, useful ways to think about timing a PC purchase.
Yeah.
So just to quickly recap, we've got buying when new high-performance parts are released, maybe close to launch even.
Right, for the cutting edge.
Then there's timing it with specific games you're really hyped for,
Yeah.
letting the software drive the hardware needs.
The practical, game-focused approach.
Mm-hmm. And finally, aligning the purchase with life changes, making sure you have the time to research and actually enjoy the thing.
The lifestyle fit, yeah.
Of course, the author does acknowledge, and it's true, other things can definitely factor in.
Oh, sure. Like finding a great sale or maybe a deal on a used component or sometimes just an impulse buy happens.
Happens to the best of us.
It does. Those are real factors, too.
And something else the author noted that's worth mentioning. More and more games are launching on PC at the same time as consoles now.
That's a big shift, yeah. It used to be PC gamers often had to wait.
Right. So owning a PC now really does open up, arguably, the widest selection of games available.
It really does. Plus, you have the whole back catalog of PC exclusives over decades.
And then there's the whole upgradability thing. That's a huge plus for PC long term.
Absolutely. It's not an all-or-nothing replacement like a console often is. As your interests change or new tech comes out...
You can swap out just the graphics card or add more RAM or faster drive.
Exactly. The author even talks about their own plans, like looking ahead to Grand Theft Auto the 6 eventually.
Oh, the big one.
Yeah. And already kind of keeping an eye on potential future hardware, like maybe the next generation of NVIDIA cards, the RTX 5000 series, perhaps. It's part of that long-term thinking PCs allow.
Right. You can plan upgrades down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wrapping this up, maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Thinking about all this, the massive game library on PC, the flexibility to upgrade over time, what's on your horizon. Are there any big games you're really looking forward to? Or maybe any life changes coming up? How might those things help you decide when the right time is for your next PC purchase or upgrade? It's not just about today's tech.
It's about the gaming adventures you're setting yourself up for tomorrow.